right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Barry Overton, your Colorado Dream Home Finder, coming to you today with a very special guest. I'm excited to introduce you to Jared Talmadge. He's doing some amazing things in the reverse mortgage industry right now. Number one, he's the author of 6 books. His latest book is this book right here, Too Good to Be Free, and it's all the things you want to know about the reverse mortgage industry. He's done over 100 reverse mortgages, been in the industry for 25 years, and he has a team where their sole focus is on reverse mortgages and not just showing you how to use your current home and get into a reverse mortgage, but even find your dream home, the forever home, and get into a reverse mortgage. So we're going to talk about that throughout the course of the day. And then we have a very special announcement at the end of this conversation that you definitely want to stay tuned for. So thank you for joining me today, Jared.
Thank you for having me, Barry. I'm very excited to be here.
Absolutely. You know, I attended one of your classes about a month or so ago, and I tell you, I walked away and I was picking up pieces of my brain as I was leaving because my mind was blown by the opportunities that people have. And I know when I was in that class, I started thinking about people, other agents that were in the room started thinking about people that this fits. And that's why I thought, this is a service that we're providing right now by doing this video, because there are so many people out there that will fit with your program and they don't even know it. So I definitely want you to just, if you want to just kind of share, maybe for that person that is like, what is a reverse mortgage? If you want to, let's just start from there. If you want to just share that.
Sure, absolutely. Let's start with the basics. So what is a reverse mortgage? Well, there's a lot of misinformation out in the industry about what is a reverse mortgage. And so let's set some of the big records straight here. A reverse mortgage is a mortgage, but it's a little different than a traditional in that it is a mortgage that you can take out. And when you take it out, as long as you pay your taxes, you pay your insurance, and you pay your homeowners association dues, you are literally set up so that you can live in your house and not have to make what we consider a traditional mortgage payment. So for example, we had a conversation today with a client, and that client he's struggling hard. He's got a $300,000 mortgage. He's retiring. He's looking at it going, I got this $1,800 mortgage payment and I don't know how I'm going to make it. And he says, I love my house. I don't really want to downsize, but I don't really know what to do. And so that's where we kind of stepped in. And one of my team was talking to him. They said, hey, we have this product. It's a reverse mortgage. Let us tell you how this works. So he said to this client, look, do you have, if you go to a bank and you say, look, I'm in a traditional situation where I'm retired. Maybe I don't have a job, but I have Social Security. If you go to a traditional bank, you say, hey, I'd like a mortgage, they're just going to simply say, I'm sorry, we can't help you. That is where our bread and butter lies, is people who are retiring, who are living on Social Security. Maybe they're on a fixed income, but we can actually help them so that they can actually eliminate their mortgage payment, which, imagine what would happen if you were in a situation where all of a sudden your mortgage payment, you didn't have to make it anymore. Or even better, what I usually call the retirement mortgage, what if you could choose to make the payment or not? Maybe this month you want to pay $500. Maybe next month you don't want to pay anything because you got to pay taxes. They're due in February. So a reverse mortgage is basically like any other traditional mortgage. The only difference is how you pay it back. And in your lifetime, as long as the people are on the mortgage, so let's say it's a husband and wife, and the husband and wife take out a reverse mortgage, as long as they are living in the house at least 6 months and 1 day a year, they can go ahead and do that reverse mortgage. They can go travel 5 months and change every year. And as long as they come back and they're living in their house, they basically can have a mortgage, and all they're responsible for is the taxes, the insurance, and the HOA. Everything else you don't have to do. And when you start thinking about it from a senior's point of view, that's a pretty big chunk of money that all of a sudden doesn't have to go to your mortgage. And so I ask my clients, hey, look, if I can eliminate your mortgage payment, what else would you do with your life? Would you go see your grandchildren? Would you travel? Would you renovate your house? Would you even buy a new house, which is some of the things that you and I talked about? And so there's a lot of things that people don't understand about this. But the problem is the industry has gotten a bad reputation because of a lot of things that happened prior to, say, 2017, 2018, when the laws changed. It is now one of the safest things that you can do to make sure that you secure your future. And on top of that, there's all these additional benefits that people don't know about that you were talking about, Barry. Like, being able to buy a new house with a reverse mortgage. Almost nobody knows that you could do that.
Yeah, and that is, and I definitely want you to elaborate on that, because that is definitely one of those areas where, you think about buying a brand new house. I just had a client do this about 3 years ago, where she left the state, went to New Orleans. She was in her 70s, wanted to be just a grandmother. Her kids were down in New Orleans, and she was able to sell her property here that I helped with, and then go right into a reverse mortgage on a new home in New Orleans. And I think that was just an amazing feeling. It made me want to be like 65 just so I could do that. But yeah, definitely, if you could share a little bit more about how that works.
Sure. So how a reverse mortgage for purchase works, and this is something relatively new. So let's say, for example, you're somebody who is in a house, and you've spent most of your life paying your mortgage down. So you owe, let's say, 20, 30, maybe even 40% on your mortgage. And you decide, it's time for me to sell my house. I want to go do something else. Okay. Well, the way this works is a reverse mortgage will allow you to buy a new home, and it operates a lot like buying a cash transaction. You basically say, you know what, instead of putting all that cash into the mortgage or into the house and having no mortgage payment, but then you don't have any cash, now what you do is instead you can say to you can go and look at a reverse mortgage and say, about half, if you can put down about half of whatever you're buying, and the reverse mortgage will take care of the rest, and you have no payment. So it's like paying cash for your house. I mean, let's face it, you're still going to have to pay taxes. The government's not going to let you not do that. You still have to insure the house because you got to do that anyway, and you still got to pay the HOA. But if you do that, what if you're sitting on, let's say, $400,000, for example, and you say, I want to go buy a $300,000 condo. You can buy a $300,000 condo, and by all means, you could put down $300,000 and have no payments. Or you could buy that same $300,000 condo and put $150,000 down, put the rest into a reverse mortgage, and now you don't have any payments, and you still have $150,000 left over and no mortgage payments. Now, one of the things that people don't think about is they say, well, I've got this pile of money, this $400,000. Okay. Well, what if you wanted to buy a $600,000 condo or a $600,000 house? Well, you can put down $400,000 and you'll have a $200,000 mortgage. And now you're right back to where you were before. You've got payments every month. Mm-hmm. With a reverse mortgage, you can buy that same $600,000 house, put down $300,000, keep $100,000 off here over to the side where you don't need it, put a reverse mortgage in, you still have no payments. And by the way, now you have $100,000 in cash that if, let's say that house needs repair. What if you want to go on vacation? What if you want to do something else? All of a sudden, you have cash and a nicer house. And all of a sudden, people go, whoa, wait a minute. How did that happen? There we are.
Yeah. And that is so cool. And another aspect of reverse mortgages I've seen in many cases where actually people are able to pull money, whether they do it on a monthly basis or when they need an extra $5,000. There's situations where they can actually take money from the reverse mortgage too, correct?
Absolutely. So that is what we call the line of credit option. And a lot of people say, oh, no, this is a terrible thing. No, this is like one of the greatest things ever. And here's why. So let's say you're sitting on your house, and I will use a colleague of yours as an example. Client he came to one of my seminars, and he says, I have this house. I owe about $200,000. It's worth about $800,000. And I said, great, let's talk about what you can do. And he says, well, what I really like to do is make sure that my wife and I are secure for the rest of our lives. And he says, sometimes my income is good, sometimes my income is bad. It ebbs and flows. And of course, that's a lot of people. So I said, well, tell you what, why don't you look at a reverse mortgage? And so what we did was we said, look, first off, we're going to pay off the $200,000 that you owe. So now your mortgage payment, I think it was a $1,200 mortgage payment, just disappears. But because of the way that the laws are set up, he could borrow more money. And so instead of having to take that out all at once, he took it out as a line of credit. And literally, it's just like having a very large credit card that you don't ever have to make payments on in your lifetime. And so what happens is we set him up. We paid off his $200,000 mortgage. In this case, he qualified for up to another $200,000 line of credit. So we set him up for a line of credit with another $200,000. He comes to me and says, Jared, I don't need it right now. I said, great, sit on it, let it wait. This is the great aspect of the reverse mortgage. When you sit on that line of credit, it goes up every year. Regardless of what the market's happening, regardless of what interest rates are doing, that will go up. And this is the great part of the reverse mortgage. Now, some people say, what happens if? Well, let's talk about what happens if. What happens if 2008 happens again? We have a market crash and the real estate market completely falls apart the way it did in 2008. Guess what? You're not affected. In fact, your reverse mortgage cannot be canceled. It cannot be called by the lender. Oh, and by the way, and this is a big if, but if for some reason you take out a reverse mortgage and you take out this line of credit and all of a sudden the market crashes and then you pass away, you're worried about your children. Oh my God, what if they inherit the debt? Guess what? They can't. It is not possible for them to inherit the debt. That is what's called a non-recourse feature. And in that non-recourse feature, there's no way that they can inherit the debt. So you basically get to live the life that you want on your terms with your money. I mean, it is, let's face it, it's your money. You get to live the life that you want to live. And on top of that, you're safe from any market conditions that might change that could put you in jeopardy in a later date. All you got to do, once again, taxes, insurance, HOA. You pay those three things. The government can't touch you, and the lender can't touch you. And all of a sudden, and you talk to a lot of seniors, and if you take out that fear that they're not going to have someplace to live when they get older, you say, look, if you can do this, and most people can cover that on Social Security, they can live in the house for the rest of their lives without fear.
That is awesome. I mean, there's just so many great features about reverse mortgages that I hope as you're viewing this, you're finding or thinking about whether it's you or a family member that this makes sense for. But we got one more thing that we're going to share. So in most cases, a reverse mortgage was for someone that was 62 years or older. Well, Jared has some amazing news to share with you. Go ahead and spill the beans, Jared.
So the news that Barry is talking about is that we now have a proprietary product with MidAmerica Mortgage, which is who I work for, where we can actually do a reverse mortgage for people all the way down to the age of 55. So if you are 55 and you are looking at this, there are some restrictions. You do have to have a lot more of your house paid off in order to do that. But if you have your house almost paid off or you're pretty close and you are looking at this going, oh man, this sounds like great. I want that line of credit. If you're 55 and over, we should talk. Plus, like I said, that line of credit grows through time. And so what happens is you take it out at 55, you don't touch it. Maybe by the time you're 62, you're looking at it and all of a sudden you're sitting on a very big pile of a line of credit money that's available to you. And the less you use it, the bigger it grows until one day you decide, hey, you know what? I need it. You don't have to ask for permission. You don't have to ask for approval. And most of all, you don't have to go to the bank. You just make a phone call, say, hey, I have this money on my line of credit. I'd like it. The bank says, great. We'll send it to you 2 days, 3 days later. Money's in your account.
Wow. I'll tell you, that is amazing. And I'm excited that we had the opportunity to be able to share this. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening and you heard something that makes sense, Jared's going to give you his contact information and definitely reach out to him so you can just read his book and you can learn more about reverse mortgages. Too Good to Be Free. He's actually giving these books away so that you can learn the power of reverse mortgages. And then he is happy to consult with you, sit down and look at your current situation and see if a reverse mortgage is a good fit. If you want to let them know how to get a hold of you, Jared.
Yep. So you can get a hold of me. I'm Jared Talmadge. You can see my name spelled down here below. And literally my email address is jared.talmadge at MidAmericaMortgage.com. Or if you prefer, you can reach out to me via text or call me. My number is 303 257 6246. And as Barry was saying, I will send you a free copy of my book. If you'd like to get it online, you can get it available on Amazon. Just search my name. You can find it. It's $5, but I'd be happy to send you a copy. We're located here in Denver, so I can meet with you here in my office, or I can come to you. It's up to you.
All right. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us for another episode. Be sure to look out for the next episode where we're going to be giving amazing tips on how you can leverage your home and being able to survive in this market right now that you're seeing things continue to go up. But whether you're a buyer or a seller, there's strategies that we can help you succeed. Thanks and have a great day.
Thank you, Barry.